Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to have you. It is another episode of the Dork Side of the Ring podcast. I'm your host, your purveyor of all things dorky within the scope of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. I am Grum. Good to have you. Good to see you. Welcome in. If this is your first time, welcome in. If this is one of many times you have been here. First things first, obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice there's no video. There's a reason why. Two things. One, I broke my camera. I broke the camera I used for my car to record in my car. That's where I'm recording right now. Broke it, so I got to get a new one. And by getting a new one, eventually I will get a new one. It's not super high on the priority list at the moment. The second reason, I was having issues. So, obviously, if you see the guests, you see WackHumanBeing, you see Ryan Nanni of Shutdown Fullcast. Did it over Zoom because it's easier when it's somebody who is not somebody who I'm not. I reached out to Ryan. Ryan's trying to get on every podcast possible, and reached out to Ryan to be a guest on the podcast. And I was like, all right, like normally I do it on Discord. That's how I do it because most of the people I have recorded with, I think I've only done it over Zoom one other time, way in the beginning, and that was with Soapy and Dan for like episode 9 or 10. I forget which one. Episode 10. And so Ryan, I was just like, Zoom would be easier. I know Ryan's got Zoom. I don't know if Ryan has Discord, and if Ryan does have Discord, I have to send a friend request. Anyways, if you don't know what Discord, how that works, that's how it tends to work if you want to like have a group call. Anyways, recorded that and the audio separate because it was just easier to do it. All that was good and whatnot. However, because I did that, I did not also record. I didn't back up the video of the thing. I did back up the audio, which is good because when I went to go through and edit this, there was either recording error or something that happened at the very, not at the very start, but about midway through, and it kind of completely and utterly messed with the video. I was not able to clean it up I tried to clean it up as good as I couldn't get it. So, no video footage. However, we do have audio proof that Ryan Nanni is on the podcast. Welcome in if you are somebody who is here because Ryan's on the pod. Ryan is a guest. Welcome. I am Grum. I like wrestling, and we get into that. I like wrestling. I'm sure you would like to get to Ryan. I'll keep that as sweet and short as possible. Today's topic, we're talking about the Drinking Championship Series. The TNA in 2008 decided to have their own little BCS, Bowl Championship Series, but it's only about drinking. All for the Drinking Championship, Drinking World Championship that they had introduced late 2007. So all in all, it's a lot of fun. It was James Storm. It's Eric Young. This is a fun episode. Thanks again to Ryan for coming on. Thanks for WackHumanBeing for also coming on. Wack actually was the one who said, hey, Ryan would like to be on as many podcasts in the year 2023. So I was like, all right, cool. Like make sure when that happens, I get Wack on. But yeah, I talk wrestling. If you like wrestling, cool. Welcome in. If you don't like wrestling and you're here because Ryan is here, also cool. We don't really talk too much about wrestling often on this podcast. It's about everything else, or it's very, what's the word? Introductory, like wrestling 101 type stuff, or like, oh, like how does this work, or this or that, or things about wrestling that aren't necessarily like the actual wrestling. So welcome in. It is good to have you. You can follow me on Twitter at I am Grum. You can follow the podcast at Dorkside Ring. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me ask you, if you, person listening to this, if you have any memories of the BCS era of college football, so it was like 99 to 2012, I think, 2011. No, 2012 was the Mariota year. So yeah, no wait. 2013, yeah, 2012. So I think that was the case, right? Either way, I get very fuzzy towards the end of the BCS era. However, what is your favorite memory of the BCS era? We get into it talking about that. We get talking about just in general the BCS that time of college football. A good time had by all. I'll talk on the back end about things that are coming down the line as well and whatnot, because we are just, as this episode drops, we are just 6 weeks away from our second celebrate 2 years, and then we're about 10 episodes away from episode 100, so some fun stuff ahead. I'm excited, but let's get into it. It's myself, Ryan Nanni of the Shutdown Fullcast, WackHumanBeing, my close personal friend, and myself. We're talking about the Drinking Championship Series at TNA 2008, at Final Resolution 2008, and then we're going to watch the match that followed it at Against All Odds 2008 here on the Dork Side of the Ring podcast.
Well, let me know when you start recording so I can say how wonderful it is that once again you've booked me on a show where everybody is from New Jersey. So, like, obviously you're from New Jersey. You're from the largest city in New Jersey, Philadelphia. I'm originally from New Jersey. Ryan, nominally not from New Jersey, but I've seen the pictures on Twitter. Like Penny is definitely from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
I don't know.
You don't get that kind of Eagles jacket anywhere but the largest city in New Jersey, which is Philadelphia.
Ryan, I know I said that Wack would be joining us today, but Wack has to go now. It's a sticking point between our friendship. Of anytime Wack's just like, "Hey, how's it in Jersey?" It's like, no, what? I hate it.
Listen. Before it was just me like casually bullshitting about, hey, I love Philadelphia, I love New Jersey, why don't I just annex Philadelphia informally? No less magnanimous a source than Channel 6, Ryan's colleagues from the Shutdown Fullcast, declared that Philadelphia was the Philadelphia of New Jersey. So, like, what? It's in the academic record now. I can't.
Don't, Channel 6, love them. Don't want to. I don't. When you say academic record, I think that's a little.
It just shows you where standards are these days.
Wow.
It's like if that's the case, might as well just get them a blue check mark. Say it's it's like, you're just a blue check mark. Historic records. Got it.
Well, yeah. Well, no. Now that we've all agreed on the finer points of Philadelphia being in New Jersey,
of New Jersey geography, yes. Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Every time. We can just move on, knowing that Grum has agreed on this premise.
I have not. I want the historical records of all kinds, checkmarked and not, to understand that I do not, and I still dispute this. It'll be me filibustering like I'm Patton Oswalt on Parks and Rec, and and you see Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is he's a manipulator. He doesn't actually love his family. He just loves what his family can do for him. And they're like, sir, it's been 72 hours, and like I still have at least 14 hours before I even get to WrestleMania 38.
Beautiful pivot to wrestling.
Yeah. Look, like I said, I'm a good amateur podcaster. We're here on the Dork Side of the Ring. We've got ourselves big time guests. That's plural. There's an S on there. That's right, Wack. Yeah, that includes you, Wack. Yeah. We've got from the Shutdown Fullcast. Let me alphabetically. Yeah, I had to. I do my guests in alphabetical order, and I was like, wait, what comes first, W or R? It's been a long day. From the Shutdown Fullcast and 72, not 72, it's like 37 podcasts this year as a guest. Ryan Nanni, hello. Welcome to the Dork Side of the Ring.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to finally answer these tough questions about Philadelphia and who she belongs to, truthfully.
She belongs to us all, the nation, But
that's right. The nation's true capital, Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. Yes, certain, but not New Jersey.
Paul Heyman did not sign the Declaration of Independence for nothing,
Look, you can convince me that him, Roman Reigns, I would be. That's it. We're workshopping the Declaration as a.
Like, if you're talking about current wrestling figures who most look like they could be in an oil painting from the Washington crossing the Delaware era,
from the Second Continental Congress,
yeah. You gotta put
Paul's up there.
Yeah, like I mean, if you put the aforementioned Roman Reigns up in there, like I wouldn't be mad about it, but I'd have questions.
No,
Paul just needs to like grow the hair a little more, so it's a little more like Ben Franklin-y, and then it's Perfect.
I was gonna say he's got the head where it's like it's not square when you look at it, but on from the side, the profile, it is absolutely a square. Looks like it looks like a Mr. Blockhead. Looks like a Womp Womp from Mario. On the other side of the table, returning once again, second time, right? Wack, or is it third time? It's third time. Third time. That's right. That's right. WackHumanBeing, welcome back.
Yeah, no, gosh, this is embarrassing to admit on mic, but I was actually just to reacquaint myself with the low standards I've set. I listened to the previous episode I appeared on, which was right around the time that I was starting to shift all of my master's research to apples, and I like heard myself saying like, oh, really not many Apple-based wrestlers except for Carlito, and look where we are.
Yeah, just this weekend.
As of day of recording, we're on Bad Bunny Eve or Bad Bunny Boxing Day. The day after.
The day after. It's like a day. It's post Boxing Day. Yes.
Yeah, the day after Backlash.
Yeah. 2 days after Backlash. It was on Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah. They do Saturday now, which is great because then I can stay up till 11 and then be like, okay, cool. I didn't ruin my Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say, my Monday morning didn't ruin the pay-per-view viewing. But yeah, it is good to have you. Previous episodes, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. This is where the amateur part. Definitely the WCW Junkyard Invitational and PN News. That's when we found out that PN News had actual like blood relation to a big time, or not maybe a big time, but a recognizable New Jersey rapping act, which went into you're just sitting there championing that. So that was good.
Yeah, no, extremely normal stuff. Guys dressed like half men, half beasts, eating ribs. The Omaha rap scene. I mean, this has got to be boring for Ryan. Like, gosh, how many podcasts am I going to appear on this year where the Omaha rap scene is brought up?
It's just it's like we get it. It's the trend of 2023. It's all anybody wants to talk about. But like at some point, we have to move forward.
You have to.
Yes. Forward to Lincoln.
Look,
Whither the Lincoln rappers.
Look, we're all just just trying to, they're working on their raps so that they can gamble on some sports, But yes, so Wack, refresh us real quick. Your professional wrestling experience.
Yeah, well, I think I've sort of told on myself there, not embarrassingly, not knowing that Backlash was on Saturday. I really, in the year or so since I was last on the show, I have probably fallen even farther out of touch with the daily ins and outs of wrestling other than what appears on my Twitter, which, like, heed my warning, all who listen. A master's program really does a number on your wrestling consumption. They really don't, like, that's not part of the sticker shock when you start a master's program. But fortunately, I graduate in theory on Thursday if I don't, if I act right for the next 3 days. And
we're only speaking positivity. You're gonna
going. Yeah, that's what I said.
You're gonna do great. Congratulations ahead of time.
And
everything's golden.
When you get the degree, that's when you take the steel chair and you pull a Seth Rollins.
Well, and so it's a library science degree, and most of the jobs I'm applying for are in academic libraries. And I really do want that like athletic recruit like commitment moment where I like
put on the hat.
I mean, I kind of did this with the graduate program, where I just basically took Sam Howell's UNC commitment video and superimposed my audio over it. But yeah, I really, put some hats on the table.
At the very least, make it graphic. Like these are my top 8. No comments.
Yes.
No, I'm not taking questions.
Yeah.
That's really, we've really moved into the graphic age as far as recruit stuff goes. Like ESPN live broadcasts still happen, but like that was much more of a thing maybe like a decade ago. Now it's
God, what
not even like a video on your Twitter. It's you got to have the like almost like a modern version of like the Cash Money Records album covers.
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I did catch up on Backlash just because I saw, I mean, a lot of people yelling about Bad Bunny on my timeline for obvious reasons, and man, it does such wonders for really any product, but pro wrestling in particular, when the audience is like invested, and within the specific context of professional wrestling, when they are like they're invested, but in what's appearing in front of them, and not just sort of like, you know, that sort of self-aware wrestling crowd where they're like, they know that they are part of the show, but like, boy, everybody in there going absolutely nuts, even for the just regular incredible matches. You know, neither Bianca Belair nor Io Shirai are Puerto Rican, and yet it works in a place that's absolutely going nuts for wrestling. I look forward to WWE learning nothing from this.
What do you mean? They're going to Saudi Arabia at the end of the month. They're going to, they're learning all they need to. They're learning that, you know, sellout shows sell out, you know, that's all they need to know. That's all.
Yeah. Once again, you've tried to catch me on microphone saying mean things about our friends at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I simply won't do it.
I certainly wouldn't either. Certainly no. There is nothing inherently wrong with running an entirely, you know, clean of any influence. It's all independent shows that put, you know, positive lights on people. That's never a bad thing.
This is a Live Golf sponsored podcast, right?
Look, I might have more money than the Live Golf sponsorships. All right, so so I'm not. Listen, if anybody needs to be sponsoring, it's
the other direction.
Yeah, it's the other direction.
Whatever you gotta do.
I know why they're bankrupt. It's because Greg Norman's checks cash over here.
Yeah, see, he did it wrong. The M in Norman looks too much like an N, so it's Greg Norman. And I'm trying to tell the bank that that's Greg Norman. They're like, this Greg Norman doesn't have any money. They died in 1987. It's like, whatever. But yeah, no, it is. It's good to be a wrestling fan always, but especially when you get to see borderline cultural moments like that's the Michael Jackson of this generation of entertainment is like wrestling, full blown.
It's just upsetting to like. There wasn't one thing that Bad Bunny couldn't have, like just comically attractive human being, great music, and then also is just like a normal, very good wrestler, not like a celebrity, very good wrestler.
No, throws a hell of a right hand.
Yeah, unless this is like a truly unforeseen, unprecedented picture of Dorian Gray situation. I like he's just got.
There's got to be something. Somebody's got to be like, man, Bad Bunny fucks up mac and cheese every time. And it's like, how is this like? This is easy, but every time.
Yeah. Well, what's the most mundane thing that he could be bad at that gets him like people to be like, no, heavens no, like we don't need this. I don't want this. Like the
mean, I'll do it right. I'll do it on air right now. This is your sizzle clip for this episode. I'm ready to challenge multi-platinum winning recording artist and really good wrestler Bad Bunny. I will challenge you to a trivia specific to apples. Like, I will wipe the floor with you.
What happens if you lose?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, who are you to doubt San Benito?
Okay. As long as you're fine with it. As long as this isn't going to send you into some sort of existential spiral. That's all I'm trying to avoid.
Oh, the spiral's already begun. The
right.
Spiral's
you mentioned you're in a master's program, so you're already there.
Yes. Yes. It's a very expensive cry for help.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, Wack, thank you for sharing your experiences with pro wrestling. Ryan, since you are new, I like to get my guests their experiences with pro wrestling, whether they're a fan or not. Not necessarily in the ring, Sometimes people think that's what I mean. Like, oh, I've never actually wrestled. It's like, no. But what is your experience with pro wrestling and sports entertainment?
I'm going to be so disappointing in this regard. So I am extremely wrestling adjacent in a number of ways. All of my co-hosts on the Fullcast, longtime wrestling fans and love it. I'm from Tampa, which is like wrestling nucleus.
Yeah.
Yes. The Undertaker at one point was looking at the house next to the house I grew up in. Like when I was a kid, I had a conversation with the Undertaker where he asked about the lake that we lived on and if it was good for fishing. He did not buy the house because it had a drop ceiling in the kitchen that he could not stand up in all the way. And I should say I've seen Suburban Commando too many times.
That's good. All right.
That said, like I know I have like an osmotic relationship with wrestling. Like I know that things have happened and I know who people are, but I have like no direct intake. I'm all just like siphoning it off. And that's always been ever since I was a kid. I like was not in it's not even that it was a thing that I tried and didn't like. It just like missed me somehow completely. And now I am, I don't know, let's say 32. That's not accurate, but it feels better.
It's the median age. I'm 31. Wack's 32. Sure. Yeah.
And now it's like I am too tired and old to be like, I'll add this. I'll jump into. So this is my existence this is my wrestling existence for the rest of my life. Is I will be aware of what's happening because of Twitter and friends and the like. But I will never be in and of it. So you just want to kick me off the call now?
Oh no, no. I've had friends. I do this game every so often with friends who have never watched a lick of wrestling called Kayfabe or Shoot, and basically I give them a bunch of gimmicks that may or may not have existed, and it's almost always gimmicks that exist, but I just sell them as if they're not actually real. There's Erwin R. Shyster. He's a tax attorney, and they're like, that's Shyster? Who's a tax attorney? His initials are IRS? No, heavens no, that's not real. It's like, hold on, not only is it real, he's borderline Hall of Famer,
Yeah. They rebranded a dentist into the devil, the literal devil.
Well, don't forget, in between, he was a different guy. Like, he was a guy who had already existed in Diesel, so they went from an evil dentist to, hey, that's Diesel, except it's not Kevin Nash, but he is Kevin Nash. They recasted him in an Aunt Viv-like way. It's like, well, he's kind of close, but they're missing one just really, really obvious part about this. But other than that, it's almost the same. Unlike the fake Razor, who was like, yeah, not at all.
Yeah. No, so as we always talk about, Kane and Amphibian, fundamentally the same.
Yeah.
Does that roughly line up timeline-wise as well in terms of like cultural impact?
Probably. Wait. So
is it a little? Is Aunt Viv?
I think Aunt Viv's a little too early because that was what 90. They recasted her in the second season was 95, right?
I was gonna say 94, maybe.
Yeah. So like mid, and then Kane debuted, or well, I should say, Dr. Isaac Yankum, Dr. I Yankum, DDS, just spot on. Debuted in 95. He was fake Diesel in 96, and then so it was like, hey, that's a good idea. But that was all for a lawsuit. They were like, hey, like we can prove that we own the IP and that they are pretending to be they're doing our IP. And it's like, yeah, sure, just fuck it, just give it to two random guys who look close enough. It's like, oh yeah, like we it's like the difference between Eli and Peyton Manning when you're like, hey, wait, there's Peyton Manning. Hey, he's gone. Well, just slide Eli in there. You're like, it's kind of close.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's not quite. It's
good enough.
But yeah, all right. So I feel like that's a fun place to be. I'm somebody who is a sycophant about pro wrestling. I am just egregiously. I probably didn't use that word right. Look.
Well, no. What we're gonna do is we're gonna say that you said sicko fan.
Sicko fan. That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I said sicko fan. Not a sycophant. No. That's certainly heavens no.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I watch a lot of wrestling, like a lot of wrestling. But like, if I wasn't a just up to my ears in pro wrestling. I probably would just be somebody who's like tangentially like, oh yeah, Roman Reigns. I know that. I see the clips on Twitter. Sure, yeah, he's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand I don't know what the big deal about it.
Sports Jason Momoa. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But
they don't tell you that all industries have a Jason Momoa.
No, I think that's right.
Yeah. I was like, there probably, there definitely is. I would
just because accounting.
Who's the Jason Momoa of the Supreme Court?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I guess that kind of narrows it down too much. I feel like the field is judiciaries,
federal judges.
Yeah, there's a federal judge. Okay. There's a federal judge who's the Jason Momoa of federal judiciaries.
Maybe it is Jason Momoa. I don't know.
Yes, the International Brotherhood of Jason Momoas recognizes the distinction between the state court system and the federal court system.
Right.
That's good.
But yeah, just because accounting Jason Momoa isn't in your field of vision is not like the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
This is true. Profound words from master degree.
Yeah. That's Again, if you want to have the scholarly gravitas to say that and have people not laugh you out of the room, information in library science.
I don't know if I would want to meet like the Jason Momoa of pediatrics. Like, I think I'd be like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Now
I'm just trying to get this kid a flu shot and be on my way.
Is the Jason Momoa of pediatrics also is he? It's just like a really handsome pediatric doctor, right? Like you're just like
with the hair and the beard and all.
Yeah,
and
you're like, and he rolls up the sleeve every so often to show like you just see just a little peek of the tattoo, and you're like, oh, man.
Like. I like you've opened the door to the notion that like the intrinsic Momoan qualities that we think of in Jason Momoa classic and sports Jason Momoa, like for both of those Jason Momoas, muscular, hunky, and always slightly wet are like very positive traits, whereas pediatrics Jason Momoa is just like, we got to dry you off, buddy. This is not
right.
sterile environment we're trying to maintain.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, he's like, hold on. He's like, I got to get a new towel every time, Like,
hold on, I have to unbutton 3 more. No, come on, man.
No, it's like he's like, look, like, oh man, busy day? No, actually, you're the first patient in a couple hours. No, I'm just, It's like, Doc, it's not that serious. It's just a Band-Aid. You're like, no, it's just natural. Like I naturally sweat. Sorry.
I glisten. It's just what I do.
Well, it's good to have a ranging variety of fandoms. Me just way too much involved. Wack falling kind of out of it with breaking off, and then Ryan, you're just like siphoning off all the information from everybody around you, like a siphon. Yeah, that works. But Ryan, you are of all the guests I've ever had, you are uniquely qualified for what we're talking about today.
Okay.
All right. As you're on the Shutdown Fullcast, premier college football podcast that's rarely ever about college football, entirely clean.
How dare you?
It is one of the, it's a great listen. It's definitely one of those where you're like, you go like I came here to listen to half an hour went by and I'm wondering like, wait a second.
The quality is not at issue.
No,
I resent the notion that it's not about college football.
Oh no,
the internet's only college football podcast.
Yeah. What else would it be about?
All right, fair. That is fair. It is certainly the only college football podcast that is in my podcast feed. I will say that. Yeah.
Great.
But no, you are uniquely qualified, and Wack, you as well. In essence, because you are somebody who I know that is very knowledgeable about the past, and the past. And I know apples are more your things. The whole past. But
all of it.
If I were to say the BCS era of college football, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? That's why. See, Wack, your face lit up, and immediately that's why I knew.
So, that is like that's like middle school and high school for me. And excuse me. So my father is a University of Oklahoma alum, and so my childhood college football experience was just all University of Oklahoma stuff. The 2000 national championship was when I was 10 years old. And just like every single year, my dad and his siblings being like, this is the year. And like maybe they were doing that 2000 and before as well, and I just didn't catch it because I was so much younger and less attentive. But like, man, it was not ever the year. Like, you know, Sam Bradford alone can only do so much. You know, you've wrung all the utility you can out of Jason White's half of a knee. So yeah, I think that and then like that one a little bit earlier, that one Miami Nebraska title game, the one where Willis McGahee blew out his knee.
That's Ohio State. Ohio State. Yeah.
Excuse me. Yes.
Yeah. The year after the Oklahoma championship, I think.
But there was a Miami Nebraska game not too far from there as well, right?
Yes.
That maybe like Clinton right. Portis era.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, because that's if what's his name? The Nebraska quarterback who won the Heisman and then
Eric Crouch.
Yes, Eric Crouch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that's around the time we're talking about.
Well,
should have been Rex Grossman's Heisman. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. No, you'll never. This is. I feel comfortable making this promise on Grum's behalf for his podcast. The Dork Side of the Ring promise is that you will never hear a cross word about Rex Grossman.
We love sexy Rexy. We love sexy Rexy.
It's I understand that safe spaces are a contentious issue, but that is one.
Yeah, no, we will never despair. And if I have ever, I don't recall it. I have a goldfish memory.
I'll say this: if you were a Gainesville cocaine dealer for about a 6-year stretch and you want to say negative things about Rex Grossman, that's different. That's different.
Ron DeSantis is afraid to let our schools tell the truth about Rex Grossman.
Super Bowl participant, Rex Grossman.
That's right. NFC champion.
That's
you
right.
know, that's more than some people can say. You know, Dak Prescott can't say that. Heavens no. What about you, Ryan? When you think of the BCS era, what's coming to your mind?
The first thing is probably the Reggie Bush USC teams, the Pete Carroll USC run. Mostly because they represent sort of everything from that era, both with the way in which Reggie Bush allegedly, at this point it's probably safe to say not even allegedly, taking money for his services, and what that meant to people is just so different from the world we live in now. How good those USC teams were, which is also very different from the world we live in now, or have lived in at least for a long time. You have, and I think that's where you also get one more split national title before we go off to playoff land, where we'll never do that again. We'll fix that problem. They're just sort of tied up in everything. You get a lot of marquee players. You get Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll squaring off with one another.
Thank God we get Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. I think it's a good sort of cultural epicenter for that stretch of time for me.
Yeah, the USC is what I think of. Mainly the Rose Bowl against Rose Bowl against Texas.
Texas, yes.
Vince Young, because I was the only kid in my class rooting for Texas. Because I loved Vince Young. I was like, this guy's great. He's incredible. And they're like, no.
Controversial opinion.
Yeah, sorry. Hot takes over here.
I mean, we laugh, but it is a controversial opinion in the Jeff Fisher household.
Well, yeah, I'm glad he went one way or the other. He's normally like a 50-50 guy, so it's good to see him taking a stand one side or the other.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, but no, like those, like that. I want to say like 04 to like not Cam Newton, because I dipped out and then came back for Cam Newton, but like maybe 2008. I like it distinctly was the Vince Young year. That was the year that Auburn also went undefeated, right? With the Cadillac Williams team, or is it the following year?
I don't remember if it was that year or the previous, but it's around that time where you get Auburn goes undefeated and tough shit.
Yeah, yeah. You're like we went undefeated. We went undefeated in the SEC, and it's like that's where I think the SEC bias started right then and there. They're like, wait a second, hold on.
And that was the last time anything weird happened to Auburn.
Or Tommy Tuberville.
That's nothing. Do not Google search Tommy Tuberville. Don't do yourself a favor. Don't. You only get disappointed.
Okay. I wouldn't endorse Googling Tommy Tuberville, but you make it sound like sinister in the way that like Googling Evan Fournier's name.
It might as well be. If I see a picture of Tommy Tuberville, I want it to be blurred I want a Twitter warning. I want a content warning of like content warning Tommy Tuberville's face.
Not for
That's
children.
it. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely not for children.
Definitely not for children. But the reason I bring up the BCS is in 2008 in TNA, they decided to have a little fun with their with some of their characters, mainly being Eric Young, who is a premier comedic talent, an incredible wrestler, and James Storm, who is a premier beer drinking talent. And they decided to have themselves a little bit of a competition about beer drinking, because that would be what you would do. And they made fun of the then WWE title, like the spinner belt that they had, and they just slapped a nondescript beer can on it, and then was saying that that's a drinking championship. Well, they decided to have themselves a little series of their drinking championship series that culminated Final Resolution 2008. And the following month at Against All Odds 2008, they had themselves a match for the championship. So what we're going to watch is the DCS, and then their match at Against All Odds. Eric Young, James Storm. Who do you got coming out with the beer drinking championship series and the title? Who do you got, Wack?
I got Gary Barta running in with a steel chair.
Gary Barta running in a steel chair. All right, good. Ryan, what about you?
I guess if I'm sticking with the theme of this era of USC, like Matt Leinart is going to come through for me pretty strong here. I feel like, certainly stronger than his NFL career. So,
So, I mean, if I were to seriously address the question, I know Eric Young from his what I would consider fairly nondescript NXT run. And I know that James Storm's whole shtick is cowboy, which feels like, I mean, to say nothing of the fact that cowboy is like, it feels like such a wrestler archetype. Nowadays, like, it's kind of tough to be a cowboy wrestler in the post Adam Page era. He's really kind of redefined the genre. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea what TNA Eric Young was like. I would be stunned if they didn't let the cowboy drink everyone under the table. Just feels very un-cowboy like.
Can't be a cowboy and lose drinking contest. Well, we're about to find out. Hello, just taking a moment here to plug a couple things while we end up watching the stuff, which you can find over on the Patreon, support.grum.tv. That is the Patreon. For as low as $1, you can support me and my creative content endeavors. You get early looks at content I'm working on, early episodes as the tiers go up, early episodes, exclusive watch-alongs, exclusive episodes, all that and more. Support.grum.tv. That's how you can get there. Also, dorkside.tv has got all the links you could use to get there. It has a link to the Patreon, to the YouTube, youtube.com/@dorkside of the ring. Also Dorkside of the Ring on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter is @dorksidering. I am Grum. Both that is me, and also the Twitter handle for myself. That is it. Also, coming up on the Patreon, I believe this month, or this week, I should say. This week, not this month, but this week, I'm going to have the exclusive watch-along from episode 60... Wait, no, hold on. 60... no, it is not 60. I lied to you. I'm sorry. It is no 68. It's a Good Housekeeping match. There we go. I thought it was. I think Good Housekeeping match goes up 68. That is Diabeto and Cornman, who have been on the last 2 episodes previous to this one. All that's going to be up there and more. Support.grum.tv. Now let's get back to this episode.
I was doing some external research, and
yes,
you can tell me whether or not it was in the same pay-per-view, but my understanding is that the drinking championship belt was made defunct when Rhino destroyed it.
I was going to say, later that month, they have a rematch for a ladder match, and Rhino interferes in that match, just as he did with this one, at the end of it, and takes the title, and after James Storm, wins it, and then just smashes it against the ring post, and it just breaks, which is one... craftsmanship, come on, WWE, sell better merchandise, and 2, just no.
Well, no, WWE would never. This is a TNA operation.
Yeah.
Which is why in TNA
it was a WWE belt. Literally, that was the spinner belt design, and they just slapped a beer bottle on it.
Gotcha.
So they had just bought it from WWE, which is yeah, we'll give you $50.
Yeah,
$30.
But they imbued it with TNA energy.
That's true. Jeff Jarrett was sitting there with TNA, total outside.
Yeah.
Ryan, first, what was your impression of the match and the DCS too?
I am glad that we did work beer into it. If we had gone the whole match without beer. But at the same time, I appreciate that, you say it's Chekhov's bottle. I do enjoy that wrestling, I think more than other sports, is willing to say oh, this cool thing's about to happen, and then immediately undercut it. Immediately just say nope, that's what you think, chump. The cool thing was never going to happen because here comes Rhino wearing a sweatshirt.
And looking more like a cowboy than the cowboy James Storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I would say it was fairly entertaining, but needed all our ideas about, somebody should have pulled a keg from under the ring. Absolutely, that should have been a thing. There should have been more shtick like that for this particular belt,
a nice little bar itself, so somebody can get dragged across it and
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel with hindsight, they definitely would redo it with more cinematic element to it. To they're actually going to fight in a bar, and then you can do all the Hollywood stuff.
Right.
I mean, the classic WWE thing is just you take whatever cultural or regional theme you have to, and then append it to street fight.
Right.
And so if you need to have somebody, hitting another person over a head with a bass drum or a guitar because it's a Music City street fight, then go for it.
Right.
If the kendo stick needs to have the Puerto Rican flag on it because it's a San Juan street fight, then go with God. That's the key ingredient missing here is commitment. And I feel like there was an uncharacteristic amount of shame for TNA. If they had been way more shameless, it would have been way more interesting one way or the other. It would have been wow, they've really done something here, or wow, they've really done something here.
Yeah, it does feel, there are elements of it that feel this is the Saved by the Bell episode about binge drinking, where it's that's not how, the best example is the idea that Never Have I Ever is a competitive game when in fact it is really just a way to like get dirt on your friends or like make them say uncomfortable things about one another. It's not a game you would do to be like, I will prove that I am the most dominant drinker in this frat.
Yeah, if this were true to life, the game would end with James Storm and Eric Young making out in the closet.
Sure. Well, yes.
Yeah.
And then immediately going to the hospital.
Yeah. They got to a point where I don't know what that was. I don't know what that white powder was that James Storm put in Eric Young's drink while Miss Jackie was exposing her chest to everybody else. But that was a lot of white powder, and
this happening at like 2 p.m.
Definitely, they definitely had the blinds like closed so that you couldn't tell that the light was creeping in. You know, like we come in on them at, like the second round is Edward 40 Hands, and it's the tail end of it. So much so that James Storm has left a Lake Michigan-sized puddle in his pants from not being able to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then Miss Jackie smelled it to make sure that it was piss, which is a preposterous idea.
You said that there was shame involved in this.
Also, James Storm took blame, responsibility for the riots of Detroit in 1967.
Yeah.
There's one of the major takeaways here, which I could have told you without the benefit of this, but like whatever they paid Jacqueline Moore, nowhere near enough.
Mm-hmm. No, she deserved better and more, money wise, and just. But what?
And more. Okay.
And more. She's over there. She's, with a guy who's not even a cowboy. He just calls himself.
Because it's Jacqueline Moore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good job. Yeah.
Is this an unclaimed belt now? Like if this could be revived at
this
point,
could
right?
be, yes. Who knows? Impact Wrestling could be watching this right now or listening. And if they're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe Impact Wrestling. Also, tjgrum@gmail.com. Hit me up for more ideas. You can bring it back.
I'd like to update my terms for my challenge to Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, our Apple trivia match is now for the defunct TNA Drinking Championship belt.
The World Drinking Championship belt too. That's the thing. That's not just that's the world. Like they had a self-proclaimed brewmaster. They had experts in the field. Wack, what was your impression of the DCS and the match itself?
Boy, I can make it real easy. My impression of the match itself is that Eric Young versus James Storm is just about the most mid 2000s TNA thing you can have, and I say that in a derogatory fashion. Very much to create a wrestler in the video game and don't change the moveset. But the rest that's part of the shame of the gimmick and the bit not being committed to so hard is that like they're very competent professional wrestlers, nothing more, nothing less. Maybe I'm missing something because I wasn't there in the middle of the.
You weren't in Greenville.
2000.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I wasn't shooting with Christian Cage in the gym. But yeah, I mean, boy, it's just it is really like even when WWE at that time had the like bad instincts of early 2000s wrestling or late 90s wrestling, like even in this form, like TNA is still very much in their shadow, and like they can't even get the like outdated, looked back upon with disgust bits up to WWE quality, like both in terms of how good it is at the time and how bad it is to look back on. It's just like there's not much. I really think, shout out to WGA. Like they needed to get some writers in on this one to workshop it. Like definitely needed another couple passes in editing.
They did. They had Vince Russo.
Oh boy.
Good old Vince Russo. I think he was around this. He might have got fired one of those times in between. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see this being his work. And again, extremely meant with all offense.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Steve Spurrier was at South Carolina in 2006, right? Was that his?
Yeah, that's probably. If I'm trying to think, yeah, I think he is there because I don't think he's working for Dan Snyder at that point anymore, and I don't remember how long he took off before.
Let's see. 2005 to 2015 was his tenure in South Carolina.
Okay, so he was there. He was there. Do you think he made the hour-and-a-half drive to Greenville?
I think Steve Spurrier Jr. did. I think so.
Yeah, he's just like, you know what? Let me go check this stuff out. Let me see what this cowboy James Storm is all about.
Yeah.
No. I was like sitting there. I'm like, I always think about that. It's like whenever it's like close to a well-known place, or like, oh, if it's in Philadelphia, it's like Nick Sirianni there, like, oh, like, and then they nowadays, like, they go like, oh, look, we have Nick Sirianni here. But then there's also times where like, they're just, they don't want to be on camera. So that was like, as I was like Greenville, I was like, Columbia, how far away is Columbia from Greenville? I'm not a South Carolina expert. But I was like, all right, an hour and a half. He can make the drive. Somebody could make the drive.
It's one of my favorite things about you that you are not a South Carolina expert.
North Carolina, I know ice cream in North Carolina. I know Angrier, North Carolina. I know. I didn't say I'm the expert. I just said I'm an expert.
Yeah.
There's a lot of geography like posturing on this. I wasn't ready for it. I gotta tell you.
I'm never ready for whatever we talk on my podcast. It's just I just go, hey, look,
let's get all of the like important. I mean, so like we've already hit on Philadelphia's largest city, New Jersey. We've brushed up against North Carolina is the one that has the right to refer to themselves as Carolina. Let's get to the really important one, which is that the original 6 hockey teams are the Carolina Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Dallas Stars,
the Seattle Kraken.
And the Seattle. The original 6. It was 5 of them, and then we just added the 6th one.
Yeah, no,
this for a long time.
The Vegas tried to claim that 6th spot for a little bit, but then they were dethroned rightfully.
No. They were part of the second wave.
Okay.
But yeah, this is.
Did you say the Atlanta Thrashers? Are they one of the 6?
Oh, R.I.P. Gone too soon. Rest in Power Kings. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like who your athlete in the crowd cameo at Greenville. Like you got someone from like the Myrtle Beach drive, like the.
That's too far. Myrtle Beach is like 4 hours away. It's like I think.
Well, my logic is that
closer than South Carolina than the University of South Carolina is actually.
Oh, geographically speaking, Charlotte and Columbia are definitely closer. I'm just thinking like. Purely in minor league baseball terms, like Charlotte's AAA, they don't have that type of juice.
Oh wait! You know who's in college at UGA and would absolutely be down to come to see the World Drinking Championship belt? It's Matt Stafford.
Yeah, because they just got done the season. This is like February. Yes. Oh yeah, he's definitely making that drive up.
No,
100%.
The reason they can't have Stafford in on that is because, like, whether it's written in or not, he's jumping the barrier and
yes,
like, he's
I challenge
his,
you.
He's cashing in his Natty Light in the bank.
Natty in the bank.
Yeah. His suitcase, he opens it up. It's just overflowing.
Yeah, it's just a case of beer.
3.2.
It's funny you say that, though. In TNA, they did have, when they first started, they had Stephen Weish of the Tennessee Titans get involved in the show to the point where it got recognition on like ESPN and whatnot, and it saved the company. Like Panda Energy, what's his name? Bob Carter of Panda Energy was like, "Hey, I like football. They get let me get some of this wrestling, and like it turned out like he just loved the idea of owning wrestlers. Like he was very much the guy that would go to exactly.
Let's not dig into that too deeply.
Yeah, but he would be like at a golf course, and he's like, yeah, you know that Hulk Hogan guy works for me. Like,
boy.
Yeah, exactly.
A brag that will never backfire.
No, no, heavens no. And it never, and it technically never did because he went back to WWE before this stuff.
That's
so
true.
Bob Carter was able to say that when it was okay to say that Hulk Hogan works for me.
When it was more okay to say.
Yeah, and
when
also
it was bad in a different way.
Yeah. Also said it about Ric Flair, who also, he was in the clear to say that. I mean, in the clear in the sense of other issues with talking about that guy works for me. But I guess when you're in a golf course with people who have billions of dollars because of energy, like saying somebody works for you might be the least problematic thing that gets said about humans.
That's fair.
I like that you used the exact verbiage that those billionaires use. They have billions of dollars because of energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because of the energy, not anything else about it. Look,
good at business.
Yeah, they're great at it. So great at it.
CEO at power.
Look, I'm just saying, if anybody wants to make me their CEO of their energy company, I certainly could do it. I could be as inept as you are, so that's good. Ryan, final thoughts. I'd like to get my guest final thoughts on everything that we talked about the match itself and whatnot. And then you can plug where you appear on, or where the next 7 places you're going to be on top of your own and whatnot. But the floor is yours.
If you want to listen to, as has been previously stated, a college football podcast, it's not about college football. You can listen to the Shutdown Fullcast. We record tomorrow in 15 hours, and I don't know what we're going to talk about. So that's pretty fun. Really love to fly by the seat of our pants over there. As far as my final thoughts, I think this was a match and a concept that really strains the notion of there are no bad ideas. Sometimes there are bad ideas, sometimes, and it's okay to say that. But I will acknowledge that at this point in time in the United States, there really were no bad ideas. Everything was good to go. And if this match doesn't prove that, I don't know what does.
We're still riding the high of the late 90s still, culturally. So, yeah. Wack, what about you? Final thoughts on the dork side today, on the topic, and where people can find you.
Who said they can find me?
Well, if you want to be found, you know.
Yeah, no. I'm at WackHumanBeing. Once again, I will make you spell Wack correctly within context.
Yep.
Think about there's a Wack an adjective. Wack as an adjective is WACK. Wack as a verb is WHACK. If we're getting all of our important political advocacy points out. I also, now that I'm done with my master's program and I don't have to put every little thought about apples into a neat and cited document, I'm going to go back to shit posting on my Apple specific Twitter account, which is at looking up apples. And yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, our friends at the Drinking Championship. Yeah, I don't look at every poorly executed wrestling idea and think like they could have used me in the room. But boy, they could have used all 3 of us in the room. And in this case, I will not claim to be an expert on drinking or drinking culture. And so if I'm in the room, probably I'm trying to veer them towards other things like, hey, let's see what kind of goofy hat we can put on Kurt Angle. But yeah, I genuinely did, and this is just maybe more of a sign of where my head is at right now in present day, but like, I genuinely did look at it and think like, oh, this feels like a writer's strike programming thing. And like, I think that the creative aspect of wrestling and like thinking out what you're gonna do and executing it. Like there probably is something poignant in here to be said about like, well, where did this go wrong? Let's map out what we did and figure out like, was this a bad idea from the jump? Yes. Or like, actually, no, that's a little unfair. I think with a little bit more cheekiness and lightheartedness and actual drinking, there's maybe some there, but yeah, so this is a long-winded way of saying that I've accepted a role in the writers' room at TNA.
Congrats.
And yeah, really looking forward to bringing back the DCB.
There we go. It's going to be great. The DCB's coming back. The DCS yearly tournament of alcohol poisoning, sponsored by Busch Light, I guess. Maybe? I don't know. We'll see who can get there.
Pedialyte.
Yes.
Pedialyte's going to be the after show.
Yes.
But again, that Wack, Ryan, you can find Ryan at Celebrity Hot Tub on Twitter and on the Shutdown Fullcast and wherever he will appear next. Wack, you can find Wack at your, on Twitter, eventually declaring interest in where he's going to be working, much like a recruit would. And you can find me.
Oh,
what?
I'll post the commitment image. My employer will not be privy to my Twitter account.
There we go. Yeah. Now you got the Masters, you got to put the lock on the private one. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. It was a blast, and I look forward to potentially doing it again.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Wack, for coming on. Thank you, listener. Again, if this was your first time, I hope to see you again. I hope to grace your earballs once more. If not, thank you for coming by. Anyways, I appreciate it. It was a pleasure to have you. Also, if you're here all the time, I love you too. Love you just the same. I love you so much. I love everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope this episode got to you on a good day. And if it didn't, I hope this episode was able to lift your spirits with some laughs and some good humor with some good guests talking about a goofy as hell topic. Next week's episode, I don't know what it is just yet. I don't know what it is. I've been a little bit busy the last couple weeks, so I haven't been able to schedule recordings as swiftly as I would like to. I'm not at a Taylor Swift concert. So that's not. It's just I just use Swiftly, but it is coming. The episodes are coming. I'm going to have some returning guests. I'm going to have some wacky subjects. Also, I do want to talk about what's coming on. I'm working on getting better at uploading the short form stuff. It is sometimes a hassle on TikTok because they are not equipped at all to schedule, even though they have the capability of doing so on desktop. So I need to work on getting those onto the phone so I could just do it from my phone like as soon as I wake up or something like that. Anyways, also the other thing is I just appreciate it. So if you're looking at that, awesome, cool. I've got a couple subscribers from YouTube from it. That's cool as well. I don't have, so I kind of have big plans. I kind of do and I kind of don't. I kind of want to do a live recording for episode 100, which as it stands is about 11 episodes from now. I believe this is episode 88. It's about 11 episodes from now. I have yet to figure out who the guests are going to be or who. So we're at episode 90. So it's 9 episodes away. So 9 weeks from now, that'll be, if everything goes to plan and I don't miss any weeks, that'll be the July 24th episode. I don't know. I should be able to finagle some things, but also I want to expand the dork side. I've been talking about this on the Dork Side of the Ring on this YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Also appreciate that. There is a Sami Zayn video essay talking about like the growth, the evolution, the character arc from 2008 or 2017 Sami Zayn to now. and like, or to WrestleMania this past year. That's there. I want to do more stuff like that, especially now that the bloodline. The next thing I want to do is the bloodline. I don't know exactly how I want to do it just yet because it's going to be interesting. You got Roman Reigns, Cody. You got Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Solo, all that stuff. So I want to talk about like Seth Rollins, like his evolution from Monday Night Rollins to Seth freaking Rollins, like all that kind of, how he's kind of come back but changed a little bit. All that cool stuff. I want to talk about. I'll talk about Adam Page as well. I love that story. But I also want to. I don't want to talk about like a review as much as I just like talking about pro wrestling. I like talking about how pro wrestling entertains me and what I find fun about it. So I might find ways of doing that as well. I want to reach out to some other wrestling creators and maybe even get some like wrestlers and like interview them, I guess. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. And if you have any ideas, go ahead and comment below. I'd love to hear them. I'm all for it. I'm working on stuff as well and whatnot. But the 2-year celebration, I think I got the guests that I would like to have on again, or for the first time, I should say. Some of them for episode 100. I want to do a live recording that everybody can kind of. But I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do that and how I want to do that. That'll not get me, or get the podcast or whatever, like just shut down. So yeah, that's what I got for y'all. I'm not rambling, so I am rambling, I should say, but it's more so of a fact of just trying to put out into the universe some ideas, see what falls. Maybe some are good, but I appreciate it. Thanks again to Ryan Nanni. You can find Ryan at Celebrity Hot Tub and on the Shutdown Fullcast. You can find WackHumanBeing on Twitter. I appreciate them. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for coming by. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Again, I don't know per se what the episode will be about or who it will be with, but I can tell you this: no matter who it's with, no matter what it's about, we're not taking it seriously, because wrestling is at its best when no one is taking it serious. I am Grum. I will see you guys here next week on the Dork Side of the Ring podcast.